Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have a hell of a show in store for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, as you can see, it's Sunday, and whenever we produce on Sunday, you know it got to be an interesting topic. And I think this one is very, very interesting. As you guys know, training camp will commence next week because preseason will then begin the first week of October, and I believe the Lakers are going to be playing against the Minnesota Timberwolves on October 4th. What does that mean? That basically means that the NBA season is here, and I am celebrating. I can't wait. I think it's going to be an action-packed season again, full of drama and storylines, and I'm sure the rest of you can't wait as well. So in the midst of that, while we wait for the season, we've kind of been left with people just talking about sports here and there, but really it's just, people we see on television and some former athletes that have podcasts. But now, according to some audio that I came across today from the Dan Lebron show, that I believe is hosted or represented by DraftKings or whatever, and via an awful announcing article, it seems like LeBron James, yes, you heard me right, LeBron James may be interested in getting into the commentary arena where he talks sports on television, where he analyzes basketball. As you guys know, LeBron had a podcast with JJ Redick. It's called Mind the Game, and it was doing very well when these two gentlemen started. But then we got the announcement that JJ Redick is going to be the next head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers. And then JJ went out there and swiftly put out a statement where he said he's going to discontinue the podcast in terms of his present producing content, that he needs to focus on the Lakers, which makes absolute total sense. So all of us agree on that. So that means that there's going to be a void, and we probably shouldn't be expecting LeBron to be talking sports. But according to what LeBron said in this sit down that he had, it seems like LeBron has an interest in talking sports on television when he retires. And as I was listening to him basically give his views, I'm like, wow, like just look at how the game is changing. So what we want to do now is want to play exactly what LeBron James had to say there, and I want to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what LeBron had to say.
Breakdowns are incredible. And your good buddy Tom Brady, while I know a lot of you current and former players, you own partial soccer teams, is something you like to do. But Tom Brady's in the booth now. So with your breakdown, you ever think when you're done, you may end up in the booth breaking down basketball?
I don't know. I definitely love the sport. I love basketball. I love football, and I watch it not only as a fan, but also, just breaking down, matchups and things of that nature. I was brought into sports. When you grow up in Northeast Ohio, listen, you grow up in sports, so, it'd be great. I see Tom Brady doing it, he's been great so far. And we will see, even if it's just a guest appearance, one game or two, when I'm done playing. But it's always fun to give back to the game. And the game has given me so much. So, if it's basketball, if it's football, if it's whatever, I love the word sport, because it's given so much to me and my family, and it's only right I give back to it.
So you heard what LeBron had to say there. Now I want to get into an article here from sportingnews.com that actually talks about the contract that Tom Brady has with Fox Sports. It says Tom Brady's contract explains salary, length, and more about the NFL QB's TV deal. It continues on. The Tom Brady era of Fox NFL coverage has begun. After 1 year away from the field, Brady is headed into the broadcast booth as the top analyst for Fox NFL broadcast starting in 2024 season. As a player, Brady does not need much of an introduction. His 7-time Super Bowl champion has reached heights no other NFL player has, and now he looks to bring the same level of excellence to a season of broadcast that will culminate with coverage of the Super Bowl 59. And then the article now goes into the contract itself. It says, Brady received a 10-year, $375 million deal from Fox to become an analyst for NFL games, according to a 2022 report from Andrew Marchand. The reported figure averages to around $37.5 million annually, making Brady one of media's highest paid members. For reference, CBS reportedly pays Tony Romo $18 million annually, and ESPN Troy Aikman earns around $17.5 million each season. Brady reported salary for the first year, and the booth will double those figures. For executive Eric Shanks and Brad Zager detail how the company landed Brady in an interview with The Ringer. The two discussed the Hail Mary attempt that ultimately ended up in a deal to bring the future Hall of Famer to Fox Network. Shanks and Zager were trying to convince Brady, who would retire from basketball, to take a job he'd never shown interest in. They wanted to make Brady Fox's #1 analyst and have him call the next Super Bowl. And then the article then goes on to say a few other things. Why am I talking about Tom Brady's contract with Fox Sports? Because I'm talking about it because there's precedent. So there's a player, of LeBron's caliber out there in a different sport that does this. Now, we don't know what capacity LeBron will be willing to do this, and he gave an idea where he can talk about it here and there. Based on what we know about LeBron is a businessman. I'm sure he has many endeavors that he's committed to, and therefore I'm sure he has a limited amount of time in the sense that I don't think he can dedicate 100% of his time to one thing like that. So it must be a seasonal thing that LeBron would be willing to do, number one. Number two, if we had to speculate on what network LeBron would go to, I think is a no-brainer, an absolute no-brainer, that it would be ESPN. ESPN would be the network, right? They have the rights to the NBA. They're paying the NBA $2.8 billion annually for the rights to some of their games. So it's going to be ESPN. We already know that. So in terms of a network, if this is something that LeBron James would be willing to entertain, it's a no-brainer. He's going to go to ESPN. That's that. And in terms of salary, I think that, well, it's interesting. It really is interesting. And why do I say that? I think ESPN would pay LeBron a boatload of money because of who he is, given the fact that, the NBA is so big and they covered the NBA. In terms of him being their highest paid, it's conceivable. Just for the simple fact that Brady is getting $37 million, which is more than those other guys are getting, as the article mentioned. So it must also have to do with the name, right? Because obviously those other gentlemen are more seasoned at what they do with the Tony Romos and others. But in terms of the name, Tom Brady, 7-time Super Bowl champion, that brings a lot of cachet. It's going to bring a lot of eyeballs, right? So I can see ESPN paying LeBron James, if he were to do it, over $20 million a year easily. And I don't even think it would be a question. I mean, imagine a segment and LeBron James is sitting there. Like, just imagine the attention it would bring. And also imagine all of the all the additional conversation it would generate, not just on what he's saying in that moment, but other people reacting to what LeBron said on ESPN, and ESPN will continue to make headlines, and I think it'll be like a ripple effect. So I think that'll be huge. Now, in terms of the way the sports media thing is kind of evolving, I think it just goes to show you that this thing is still evolving. It's still evolving. It also shows you that sports media is something that is very, very intriguing to former athletes. Obviously, LeBron has sat back. He studied the landscape. When they came up with the podcast, Mind the Game podcast, they decided to take a well thought out direction, which was they wanted to break basketball down to the X's and O's and put it, explain some basketball jargon that players use to fans so they can understand it at a more intimate level. So I'm 100% sure that if LeBron were to come on TV and talk about sports, or in this case basketball, I think it would be from a well thought out angle, right? The question is, how much of that will he do, right? Because Kobe had done something where he used to do detail, which is kind of like these one-off pieces that he would do about various players, but you wouldn't see Kobe Bryant in studio 2 or 3 days a week. You just wouldn't see that. So it'd be very, very interesting, and I think that if he were to do it, I think it would be successful. Obviously, I think there will be a learning curve, because there's always a learning curve. We just did a show, I believe it was yesterday, when Skip Bayless had some critiques about Tom Brady, where there were some of his peers saying, Brady just needs to be himself, relax, and all of that stuff. So there's going to be a learning curve. Just because you're great at your particular sport doesn't mean that you're just going to walk in and start broadcasting and do a totally different discipline, in this case, which is broadcasting, and just nail it. Right? I think there's going to be a learning curve, and I think that should be expected. But nevertheless, I think this is very, very interesting. I think it's very, very interesting. So the question to the audience is simply this. When LeBron James retire, number one, do you see him kind of making occasional appearances on TV talking basketball? That's the first way. And number two, do you think he will be good at it? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and we'll catch